Welcome back to Free Football. I'm Free. Let's talk football. Week 1 of NFL action is officially in the books. I watched all of Sunday. I got back to the lab. I regrinded the tape, and I am excited today to bring you my first ever NFL power rankings. See all the power rankings on ESPN and Bleacher Report and all these other media outlets that think they know football. And you always had the people in the comments that just bash the power rankings. I think a lot of media outlets create power rankings just for clickbait. Like they put certain teams in certain spots to get people upset so they can get more comments and drive up their popularity. But I really sat down and took a lot of time to rank all 32 NFL teams, mostly going on the eye test. Of course, there's going to be some consideration for what does their roster look like, what does their season look like, but I'm really trying to be fair about this and go based on how did these teams look with human eyeballs that know what good football is. And I'll be honest, there was not a lot of good football in week 1. I'm really excited for week 2 because hopefully some of these kinks are worked out. A lot of teams look real rusty. Passing volume down across the league, touchdowns down across the league, just some real gross and sloppy play. And that's actually where we're going to start. We're going to start at the bottom with 32 and work our way up to number 1. No need for a drum roll. To no one's surprise, the 32nd best team in my power rankings, the Carolina Panthers. Oh my God, what a dumpster fire of an organization. I really had hopes that the Panthers would be improved. Bryce Young throws a pick on his first pass of the year. There was a point in this game where 3 Carolina Panthers just fell over each other trying to make a tackle. Bryce Young looked like absolute crap. The Panthers look like they're going to be without defensive tackle Derek Brown for the rest of the season. The Panthers did what they could in the offseason to improve the offensive line, bring in new weapons, and put everything they could around Bryce Young, and he still couldn't get it done. They brought in Dave Canales, run-friendly offense. They managed 58 yards rushing as a team at 2.9 yards per carry. Gross, gross, gross. All over the place. Dave Canales, if I were you, knowing the coaching history of this team in recent years, don't open your door if there's a knock at it, okay? Speaking of horrible football, 31, New York Giants. Yeah, I haven't understood this team since I watched offseason Hard Knocks with the Giants. For some reason, Joe Shane thought it was a good idea to employ a budget offensive line for his quarterback that was coming off an ACL injury. Daniel Jones looked like shit. Pressure was in his face all day. Defense couldn't do anything against a Vikings team that no one really expected anything from. Bad vibes all around. Sound the panic alarms if you're a Giants fan. The good news is they're going to be able to get a new quarterback because they're going to be picking real high in the draft. This is the end of Daniel Jones. Number 30, I have the Cleveland Browns. Yes, a playoff team from last year, but also a team that had a really, really, really poor showing in week 1. Their quarterback is horrible and their offense is inept. And I don't mean their quarterback is horrible at football, although he is. He's also a horrible person. 29, we have the Washington Commanders. It was really fun actually to watch Jaden Daniels play football. He's got a lot of natural ability, but that defense is real bad. Baker Mayfield and the gang had their way. They did anything they wanted on offense. And unless the Commanders can average 30 points per game on offense, they're not going to really win many football games this year. 28, we have the Denver Broncos. Bo Nix struggled pretty big. He had a few good plays, but nothing special at all. All of the Broncos running backs were whatever. All of the Broncos pass catchers were whatever. I do find it hard to believe that the Broncos kept this a one-possession game. We knew this team was going to struggle, though. They're at 28. 27, their fellow AFC West compadres, the Las Vegas Raiders. Definitely showed some flashes on defense, but the offense also had 3 turnovers, and the head coach had one hell of a questionable punt. Down 6, facing 4th and 1 at the Chargers' 43-yard line, Antonio Pierce elected to punt with 7:15 left in the game. I mean, I guess you're trying to punt, get a 3 and out, and improve your field position, but does the field position really get that much better than the Chargers 43 with a yard to go when you're down a touchdown? Not good, AP. Be better next week. Tennessee Titans come in at 26. Man, I sat there in the first half and I was like, wow, Will Levis looks comfortable. The Titans are going. We got something here. And then I remembered that football games are 60 minutes. The Titans did not do good at all in that last 30. And who did do well in the last 30 was our number 25 team, the Chicago Bears. The Bears offense looked like crap. Caleb Williams and the gang did nothing on offense, didn't get a single offensive touchdown, yet managed to put up 24 points thanks to special teams and defense. Once again, the Bears are winning how they've won for 100 years with their defense. Brighter days are probably ahead for this team, but not a good look for week 1. 24, the New England Patriots. Based on the eye test alone, this team should probably be higher. They go on the road in a hostile environment playing the Cincinnati Bengals, and flat out, they were the better team. Jacoby Brissett did look a little shaky at times. This offense will certainly struggle throughout the year, but what we did learn about the Patriots is that their defense is still very solid, gave Cincinnati plenty of trouble, and much like last year when the Patriots struggled on offense, that defense is going to keep them in some games. 23, probably my biggest disappointment of the weekend, the Atlanta Falcons. I'm not afraid to admit when I'm wrong, and I was wrong about Kirk Cousins. He did not look healthy. The offense looked bad. The defense did what they could to keep him in the game, but if we see that Kirk Cousins for much longer, it is time to sound the alarms and start Michael Penix. Let Kirk Cousins sit and get fully healthy. You need to be confident in him because you just paid him $180 million. That was not a $180 million quarterback that we saw on Sunday in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. 22, I have the New Orleans Saints. Saints looked good, but I want them to do it against a real NFL team. Big test for them this week at Dallas. 21, the Minnesota Vikings. Yeah, they look solid. Sam Darnold had a great week 1. Shouldn't be that much of a surprise because KOC does put quarterbacks in a very friendly position with his offense. They almost managed to make the playoffs with a myriad of 4 quarterbacks starting last year. And the Vikings defense looked solid, although, again, consider the competition. 20 in my power rankings, I have the Indianapolis Colts. Colts went toe-to-toe with a top team in the NFL in the Houston Texans. Anthony Richardson definitely had some highs, definitely had some lows, but had 2 of the prettiest passes of the weekend with those bombs to Alec Pierce. Richardson just has to get more reps under his belt, and this is kind of like his rookie season, so I'm still hopeful that the Colts and their offense can put it together by the end of the year for sure. At 19, I have the Cincinnati Bengals. They were not at full strength. They were without T. Higgins. This team is a slow starting team over recent history. Their run game definitely looked a little lost without Joe Mixon in the backfield. But again, credit to the Patriots. They came to play and their defense showed out. Bengals land at 19. I got to see more from them. 18, we have the Arizona Cardinals. Went into Buffalo and gave them a game. They put up 28 points at Highmark Stadium despite giving Marvin Harrison just 3 targets and 1 catch for 4 yards. Is that really how you want to treat the number 4 overall pick? Guys, I got a great idea for a formula for winning. Let's give Greg Dortch the most receiving yards on the team. The offense has some work to do. The defense had spurts where they looked good, but in the second half, they couldn't stop a nosebleed. 17, I have the Seattle Seahawks. Shout out to Ken Walker, great second half, but they kind of beat a bad team, and this is about where I had them in the preseason, so they need to show me more. At 16, I reluctantly have the Pittsburgh Steelers. Kind of thought this team was going to be ass all year, but TJ Watt showed me once again he can break a game, and he broke that game wide open. Steelers defense dominated. Justin Fields did enough to get the team down the field and kick 6 field goals. Not impressed in the least bit with this team offensively, but the defense looks like they can win them games. Maybe Tomlin's just gonna do it again with his over 500 streak. Number 15, I have the New York Jets. Very thankful to see Aaron Rodgers make it through a full game injury-free. The Jets had 1 good drive on offense and really did nothing else. The defense looked solid in spurts, but they were going up against a really good 49ers team. Anxious to see what the Jets look like against a less superior team and also in their home environment. 14, the Jacksonville Jaguars. They had the Dolphins for most of this game, but the offense disappeared in the second half. Trevor Lawrence completing 12 passes is not going to get it done. Tank Bigsby did look good. Shout out to him. This team has to sustain more drives, and the Dolphins came to play and did not let Jacksonville have many of those long drives at all. 13, I had the Los Angeles Chargers. Compared to a lot of quarterback play this week, Justin Herbert was pretty mechanical. J.K. Dobbins looked awesome considering his injury history. The Chargers defense finishes with 4 sacks, a lot of pressure on Gardner Minshew and the Raiders. Number 12, I have the Baltimore Ravens. I'm sure the Ravens are going to be higher on a lot of power rankings, and they were good. I mean, they almost came back on opening night and almost beat the Chiefs, but for me, it was just on offense, it was a lot of slop. The offensive line looked terrible. It really all fell on Lamar Jackson, and that was pretty evident with his final line. And if the responsibility has to all fall on Jackson like that, this team will inevitably struggle. The defense looked good, and it was a solid showing for the Ravens, but again, need to see more. Number 11, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Boy, Baker Mayfield and the crew, they just ate up the Commanders. The Bucs were doing literally anything they wanted on offense, and it was all working. I thought Bucky Irving would be too small and too slow for the NFL. He proves me wrong right away. way, 11 touches and 76 all-purpose yards. And again, maybe that's an indictment on the Commanders. Chris Godwin had a great game. Mike Evans is still that dude. And Baker Mayfield looks real comfortable in Liam Cohen's offense. Kicking off the top 10, we have the Miami Dolphins. If you had any concerns over the number 3 receiver on this team, it's Devon Achane. Very electric. The Dolphins definitely had a slow start, but they got it going in the second half. Defense showed up big time to keep them in that game, and they persevered through early morning legal issues in Miami and a horrible missed kick early in the fourth quarter. Number 9, I have the Green Bay Packers. I would probably be ranking the Packers higher if it's not for the Jordan Love injury. Sad to see him go down second to last play of the game. I think he's very lucky to only have an MCL sprain. That looked really bad. But if Malik Willis is going to be quarterbacking this team for the next, 4 or 5 weeks, Packers fans should be very extremely panic alarm worried. And this 9 ranking is kind of setting up to move them down toward the middle of the pack if Malik Willis shows out like I think he will, which is not good. Number 8, I have the Buffalo Bills. Not gonna lie, I was pretty down on the Bills coming into this season, but Josh Allen's still that guy. The defense did okay. The weapons look good. That home environment is still tremendous at Buffalo. Just an all-around solid game from the Bills. Number 7, I have the Philadelphia Eagles. Rough start to the game for the Eagles. An interception and a fumble on their first 2 drives. Credit to the Eagles defense for keeping them in the game early. They limited the Packers to just 2 field goals on those turnovers. And then from there, the Eagles start cooking. They go on 4 straight scoring drives and ultimately seal the win in Brazil. Number 6, I have the Dallas Cowboys. Like I said earlier, Dallas just did whatever they wanted. Apparently, this team can just all be Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Cooks and be just fine. Cowboys totaled 6 sacks on unnamed Cleveland Browns quarterback. Number 5, I have the Houston Texans. No turnovers, great utilization of all the weapons in Houston, and Joe Mixon having a tremendous debut for the Texans. 178 all-purpose yards on 33 touches. Number 4, I have the San Francisco 49ers. Definitely not the cleanest game from the Niners, but obviously they had a lot of contract issues, a lot of injury concerns in the preseason. Defense was flying around all over the place. Jordan Mason had a great game. Vibes are high with the Niners. Number 3, the Los Angeles Rams. This team was kind of a mess on Sunday night as far as injury issues. Sean McVay put in a great game plan to stay in the game with the Detroit Lions. It's a young Rams defense, but they were flying around even without Aaron Donald. Puka Nacua went out, but some of the other young weapons stepped up. Tyler Johnson had a great game. Colby Parkinson had a good game. And Cooper Kupp was Cooper Kupp. Number 2, the Detroit Lions. Jamison Williams definitely showing that he's even a little bit better than Josh Reynolds. That's easy. Congrats to JMO for getting the game ball, his first one in his football career. Lions offensive line just asserting their dominance and will in overtime. David Montgomery eating up yards, biting kneecaps, getting a victory on Sunday Night Football. And that leaves number 1, the defending champs, the Kansas City Chiefs. All the eyes in the world on them. They got it done against a good Ravens squad. Chris Jones was a monster. Xavier Worthy looked real nice. I thought a lot of Chiefs made some good plays on defense. Just a solid week 1 showing for the defending champs. They stay at 1. And there is the first inaugural free football power rankings. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments. I would love to hear what you have to say. I'll see you back here Thursday for Game Picks Week 2. And that's all for free football. Take care.